My next speaker, he has been very busy outside. You'll probably recognise the logo, 2upskill.com. They have a desk outside. They have a plethora of people coming to them already with all sorts of questions. I was asking Charlie, were they just work-related? But interestingly, the first one you mentioned was what somebody was going to do after they finished working as such. So look, I'm going to let you do your presentation, and then afterwards we'll have a Q&A. So if you have any questions, if you can hang on till the end, and we can ask them then. So I'd love for you to give a lovely warm round of applause to our next speaker from 2upskill.com, Charlie Mernagh.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Well, I'm from Wexford anyway. We have been in Croke Park a few times. The last time we were here for an All-Ireland, I think it was 1996. So that's not today or yesterday anyway. All right? That's for the hurling, of course. What I'm here to do today is just to talk to you about the principles of success in business and personal life. Where I would have got this from, I spent 32 years in the financial services, and the founder of the company that I worked with, he was a very good friend of Napoleon Hill. Now, both himself and Napoleon Hill, they did a lot of research on the principles of success. So their job was to interview Fortune 500 companies and the people at the head of those companies and ask them the question, what was their secret to success? How did they get to where they are? So that's why I feel that this might be very beneficial to yourselves, okay? There's 17, which means this would normally take a half a day. And as you probably gather, I don't have a half a day. I've only got a half an hour, okay? So I'm going to go through them very quickly, but if you want to get your hands on the slides afterwards, one of the girls is obviously, you can talk to somebody from the Jobs Expo and they'll let you have the slides. Is that fair enough? Okay? So we get stuck into them. So this comes, as I said, from Napoleon Hill's Key to Success. If you wanted the Hill Foundation, actually, it's a website. After he died, actually, his own family set up a foundation, and on that website you will get the 17 success principles and what each one of them stands for and all of the text that goes with it. Is that fair enough? So I'm only going to give you the very high level overview of what they are. So let's start off anyway. We look at success as defined. Now, everybody's success is different. Success for one person could be, for example, building an empire, whereas another person's success could be getting that next job, okay? So it really doesn't matter because it's the favourable or prosperous termination of attempts or endeavours. So it means you've achieved something. So actually getting here today, for some people, certainly for me because I came from Cashel, is success. Is that fair enough? So breaking down success then, and taking each letter as an acronym. So this particular guy here, Dr. Robert Schuller, what he says really is, number one, set a goal for yourself. As the old saying goes, like, I mean, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And interesting enough, I was interviewing a lot of people outside there and asked them what exactly do they want to achieve. Quite a lot of people actually don't know what they want to achieve. So it's very hard to guide someone in a direction if they don't know where they want to go themselves, okay? So set a goal, unlock the possibilities after you set that goal, chart your course, commit yourself, expect results, stand firm, and serve others. Number 6 there is very important. Once you set the goal, don't let anybody knock you off track. So surround yourself with the right people once you've set the goal. Are we okay so far? So the principles themselves, they're based on his story and bestseller book, The Law of Success, which was written way back in 1928 when you think about it. So these principles are as firm today as what they were when he started putting them together. So here they are in a nutshell, and I'll go through each one very quickly. So number 1, a positive attitude. It's funny enough actually, Hill and Stone, when they wanted to put these in the right order, W. Clement Stone said a positive attitude, in his opinion, was the most important one. Hill said definite there's a purpose, in his opinion, was the most important. I personally believe the positive attitude is the most important one to start with, because if you got the right attitude, it's a lot easier then to actually set a purpose for yourself after that. Would you agree? So the next one then is definite as a purpose, going the extra mile, accurate thinking, self-discipline, the Mastermind Alliance, applied faith, pleasing personality, personal initiative, enthusiasm, controlled attention, teamwork, learning from defeat, creative vision, budgeting your time and money, maintaining sound physical and mental health, and using cosmic habit force. You're wondering what the hell that is. Okay, I'll explain that to you. Okay then? That's it in a nutshell what they are. Let's take each one. So when you look at a definite purpose, you say, that's an individual achievement. It begins with adopting a definite major purpose. Definite is the key word here. You're not wishing for something. You need to write down exactly what you want to achieve. Get your best friend with you, somebody who's very, what would you say, very honest with you, and get it down on paper. You don't need your best friend saying, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I go along with that. You know, you need someone to actually challenge you on what you're writing down, but get it down on paper. A lot of people are afraid to put down on paper what they want to achieve because they're afraid they mightn't be able to achieve it, okay? Don't think about how you're going to achieve it. All you're doing at this stage is brainstorming. And you know the thing with brainstorming? There's no such thing as a bad idea. Get it all on paper. The stupidest one actually might be the one that you'd end up saying, yeah, that's for me. So that's your purpose. Developing that then, number one, determine and fix in your mind exactly what you want to achieve. Number two, evaluate and determine exactly what you'll do in return for it. That means you want to go from here to Belfast. How are you going to get there? And what will you do to get there? Are you willing to pay the money to get there? Do you follow? So it's willing to pay the price to get it is the key, and that can put a lot of people off as well. Clearly define your plan, of course, how you're going to do it. Write out precisely and concisely exactly what you want and exactly what you want to achieve. And then each and every day, or morning or evening, review it. That's what the successful people do. They look at their own business plan on a regular basis. They don't just write it down and let cobwebs grow on it. They write it down and they review it very regular. Number two, Mastermind Alliance. A Mastermind Alliance, in a nutshell, what that means is actually getting a team of people around you that will give you the right advice. This is not teamwork, this is a team of people that have the knowledge that can help you. So if people going into business, for example, what they tend to do is say team up with the likes of Enterprise Ireland. Enterprise Ireland then would actually give them certain people that would have the knowledge they need to get that business off the ground. That's what I mean by a Mastermind Alliance. Having the people with the expertise that can help you. Is that okay? And when you're establishing that, that can be anybody. It can be a spouse, a friend, or even a co-worker. It doesn't have to be, it's just somebody that will give you an ear, that won't advise you what to do, but will tease out with you what you want to achieve. Because having someone to tell you what to do, that's not the person you're looking for. So once the Mastermind Alliance is formed, the group must become and remain active at all times. Number three, applied fate. So fate is a state of mind, you see. Once you write down what you want to achieve, as you know, I'm not putting this in any particular order now, okay? But once you write down what you want to achieve, you have your Mastermind Alliance around you, then you must have enough faith in yourself to say, yes, I'm going to achieve that. So when things go wrong, that's the true test, isn't it, of faith? Because if you haven't got faith, once you hit that wall, you're going to give up. But the person that's actually definite about what they want, the wall is only a stepping stone. Okay? What they normally would say is, I'm learning from that and I'm going to move on. Because once they've made that mistake, because they have made a mistake if they're hitting the wall anyway, they'll break that wall down and they'll move on. So a quitter never wins and a winner never quits. You've probably heard that expression. Okay? Principle number 4, going the extra mile. I was a sales manager for about 25 years. And I had some very successful people working with me. And I remember some people coming up to me and saying, God, I'd love to be as successful as, say, Joe Bloggs there. And I'd say to him, are you willing to pay the same price that Joe Bloggs is actually paying to be the success that he or she is? Oh, I wouldn't do that. Well, then you'll never arrive there. Okay, so you've got to be willing to pay the price. Because sometimes, and more often than not, we look at people that have achieved the success that they've set out to achieve, so we see them up there. But lots of times we don't actually see when they've got their sleeves rolled up and they're working until about midnight to get to where they want to go. That's what I'm talking about, going the extra mile. Be willing to pay the price to go the extra mile. Okay? All right, that so far? Number 5, a pleasing personality. Well, I think that one kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? Well, I'll explain that a bit better. People tend to shy away from negative, egotistic type people, don't they? Which means their personality is not the best, okay? Because they're focusing on all of the pitfalls that can happen you before you even start on the journey. It's just their attitude towards life, generally speaking. So if you want to be successful, Surround yourself with successful people, and guess what? Your personality will match theirs then. It's called the mirrored image. If you want to be positive, surround yourself with positive people, and you will end up mirroring those people anyway. Okay? So that's called a mirrored image. My mother actually, she used to be always on to me when I was young and I'd grown up, don't pal around with that crowd there now, they're not the best in the world, you know. But anyway, at the age I was, of course, what would you do? You go and pal around with them, okay? But you know what, that was a wise head, wasn't it? Surround yourself with successful people and you'll end up having a very pleasing personality because you're going to be talking about positive stuff then. Not positive for the sake of positive, but actually positive because you know where you're going. You have a clear vision, okay? Some of the positive factors that would fit into the pleasing personality would be tolerance, courtesy, alertness, tactfulness, magnetism, sportsmanship, sincerity, good sense of humor, and patience. There's some of the things that you would associate with positive people, okay? And if you want advice, you know, you're going to have to talk to a patient person anyway. I'm looking at one there. And you're probably going to have to talk to one with some tolerance as well, because they're going to have to listen to you trying to figure out what you want to do in your life, okay? So you need that personality. So number 6 then, personal initiative. In a nutshell, what I call that is the get up and go, all right? You say you're going to do it, there's 3 words. If you have a bio, you could maybe jot them down. If you say you're going to do something, follow that by using 3 words. Do it now, okay? So don't put off till tomorrow what you can actually do today. So just do it now, okay? Use those 3 words. That's the personal initiative, and that will drive on that personal initiative as well. You okay with that? So when you're looking at personal initiative, it's motivation. And motivation is that which induces action or determines choice. So you say you're going to do something. Come on, I got out of bed this morning at 5 o'clock to get up here. You know, was I motivated to get out of bed at 5 o'clock? In actual fact, I was. Okay, I was out of bed at 5 to 5. And that's the do it now concept, isn't it? But thinking about the night before, God, I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, like, come on. Okay, but there's people doing that every day of their life, aren't they? All right? So that's the motivation, and what I would have learned, as I say, it's that what induces action or determines choice. People used to come to me and say, well, he's not motivated to go to work. My answer to that was, yes, he is. Because he's motivated to stay in bed, okay? So he is motivated, okay? But he's not motivated towards what you want him to be motivated towards. He's motivated towards what he wants to be motivated towards. Everyone is motivated, would you agree? But what they're motivated to do is the key. So principle number 7, a positive mental attitude. As you can see, I've broken that down into bullet points: right, honest, constructive, thought, action, reaction, to any person, situation, or set of circumstances. So that means if you're going to give advice to somebody, the key to it is you'll be positive about that advice. And it's very easy to be positive, you see, if you know where you're going. Okay? Having the right attitude in any given situation, so long as it doesn't violate the laws of God or man. Is that fair enough? That's the definition of motivation. Principle number 8, enthusiasm. There's something this is one I like actually, because what the experts say about enthusiasm is a bit like a forest fire. Once a forest catches fire, it's very hard to put it out, okay? And that's a little bit like enthusiasm. If you haven't got enthusiasm to start with, the old saying is, act enthusiastic until you become enthusiastic. I had a lad working with me actually, it was a great attitude, this guy. And I knew, like, if he was out there selling insurance, there was no way anyone would buy off him unless he was enthusiastic. So when things were going wrong with this man, now come on, you might think he was mad doing this, but he did it in order to get this negativity out of his head. And I sat in the car a couple of times with him when he was doing it. He'd wind down the 2 windows of the car, and what he'd say really is, in with the positives, out with the negatives, in with the positives, out with the negatives. Now come on, just thinking about that, you're going to get enthusiastic anyway, because you're going to start laughing at yourself. The truth. So sometimes you have to do some stupid things in order to get yourself enthusiastic. All right? And that's why I say, to become enthusiastic, act enthusiastic. Come on, if you're a boss and you're walking into a company and you're meeting your staff, they can read you like a book. You know, if you come in with a face on you as long as a wet week, you can guarantee it, the staff are going to say, what are we in for today? You know, what's wrong with your man there? Okay? So, as I used to say to people, if you've got problems, put them into a jam jar Put them on the table. Make sure that you put the lid nice and solid on it, okay? Leave your problems there on the table in the jam jar, and now go to work, because you're guaranteed to be still there when you come back, okay? So don't bring them into work with you. So to become enthusiastic, act enthusiastic. That's got to be the key, all right? And always give a worthy goal to focus on. Once you've challenged it towards a goal, it'll carry you forward. Remember what I said the first one? Set a definite goal for yourself. Once you have that goal, you see, you will drive on towards it. Once you're definite that you want it. And all the principles together have to work together. One of them on its own is not good enough. You need all 17. Is that fair enough? And we're kind of halfway through at this stage anyway, aren't we? All right. Self-discipline. So if you don't control your thoughts, you can't control your needs. So that means you've set a goal for yourself. Now you start to think negative about it. Oh God, I'm going to have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to have to work till 12 o'clock at night. I'm going to have to give up playing golf. I'm going to have to give up the tennis match. I'm going to have to give up this. What are you doing? You're focusing on the negativity, aren't you? I've set a goal for myself. This is what I want, and I'm willing to pay the price to get it. Johnny comes along for his game of tennis or his game of golf. Sorry, Johnny, I can't do it because I got priorities here. You got to prioritize your activities here, and that's self-discipline, isn't it? All right? So we have the power of self-determination and the ability to choose what our thoughts and actions will be. We can decide that, okay? And when I deliver some management courses, what I say to people, there's two people, one is sitting on your left, the other sitting on your right shoulder. One is saying to you, fight, the other is saying to you, back off. Now, if you're a manager and someone is coming at you like a bat out of hell, I think it's advisable to listen to this guy here, isn't it? Back off. Dear God, help me keep a big mouth shut, okay? And just listen. Because it's called stimuli and effect. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it or not, but stimuli, effect, and then you're looking at the outcome. So there's the stimuli, someone is shouting at you. The effect is you control it yourself, don't you? You can shout back, or you can choose to stay calm. You choose to stay calm, what you've just done, you've controlled the outcome, okay? But you shout back, you've also controlled the outcome. There's a lot of research done on that, by the way, like Pavlov's dog and stuff like that. So it's stimuli and effect. Just think about it. You control how you act. Someone shouts at you and says, your boss wants to see you in the office in 5 minutes. How do you think you react to it? Oh God, what have we done wrong now? Okay. Then you go into the office and the boss says to you, well, I just want to give you this check. You did a great job there and I earned a bonus and there's a little bit of bonus for you. But your thoughts were, what did I do wrong? Okay? Who controlled that? You did. Okay? So stimuli and effect. The two boys on your shoulder, just figure out which one you're going to listen to. Is that fair enough? Direct your thoughts, control your emotions, ordain your destiny. Self-discipline enables a person to fix his or her own entire attention upon a desired purpose and hold it there until the purpose has been attained. You take golfers, you take Tiger Woods there recently. I don't know if you watched that, but that was some comeback, wasn't it? And even the most negative people said that was an unbelievable comeback. But even last night, McGinley was actually interviewed on the Late Late Show, and he said that once Tiger was on the way back, everyone else actually, the little boys on the shoulder, started talking to them, and their game actually went off because they knew Tiger was coming back. Okay, but Tiger did not give up. Would you say he directed his thoughts, controlled his emotions, and ordained his destiny? Even when things were going wrong, he didn't give up, did he? He stuck with it. And that's what I mean by, that principle there is very important, by the way. Self-discipline. Keeping yourself disciplined, not letting those negatives get into your head. All right? Principle number 10, accurate thinking. Might seem a little bit similar, but you can learn from your own experiences as well as those of others. But learn to separate, you see the second bullet point there, let's separate the facts from fiction and hearsay and evidence. So this is accurate thinking really at its best. Be careful who you sit down with to ask for advice, because the person you're talking to could be extremely convincing, couldn't they? And if your thinking is not accurate, guess what's going to happen? You're now being influenced by somebody else, okay? You might think this sounds ridiculous, but sometimes the people closest to you can be the people who will actually, they're just trying to protect you, and because they're trying to protect you, you see, they're probably not giving you the right advice. So the best thing to do is talk to somebody who's an expert in the field that you want to get into. You want to become an engineer? Talk to the best in the field. You want to become an architect? talk to the best in the field. Talk to somebody who's already got what you want to get. And that's really determining your accurate thinking, isn't it? So be careful who you talk to. So principle number 11, control the tension. Keep your mind on the things you want and off the things you don't want. And this is the highest form of self-discipline, by the way. Okay, just keep your mind on the things you want and off the things you don't want. Does that make sense? Things are starting to go wrong. What are you going to start focusing on? The things that are going wrong. What I would have learned way back years ago from the guy that gave me the right advice, W. Clement Stone, he said, there's 2 solutions to every problem. So you've got a problem. What he said you should say to yourself is actually, I've got a problem, that's good. Now I need to focus on the solutions. Okay? The car breaks down. Solution, get a mechanic. I got a puncture. Solution, ring up the person who'll actually change the tire for you. Okay? I'm hungry. Solution, eat. Do you follow? There's 2 solutions to every problem. So you got a problem. A lot of people actually focus on their problem. And that's where that principle comes in, you see, control the tension. That don't focus on the problem. Yes, you've got a problem. And you must deal with that problem. To deal with the problem, focus on the solutions. I've got a problem. That's good. Now let's look for the solutions. It's actually interesting when you think about it. To say to yourself, might sound silly, doesn't it? For you to say, well, I've got a problem and that's good. Okay. You might end up, your best pal might put you into what do they call that, home again? But the thing about it is, though, it is a good way of controlling your own mind, you see. So what you're doing here, you're telling your mind what you want your mind to know, and that is, it's now good, now I need to focus on the solutions, okay? And you'll then solve the problem. Principle number 12, teamwork. It's the harmonious cooperation that is willing, voluntary, and it's free. Harmonious cooperation is a priceless asset that acquires in proportion to your giving. Going on a bit further, teamwork is a spirit of friendliness, costs little in a way of time and effort. The key really is teamwork. You take, for example, the Kilkenny hurling team, or take the Wexford hurling team where they're at their best. They worked as a team, didn't they? Everybody on a team knows exactly what their role is in that team. So when you're pulling a team together for yourself, this is not the Mastermind Alliance now, this is the team that you want around you, okay? Pick the team that you want, and pick the expertise that you want. But tell them, brief them exactly what you want from them, that you don't want them to tell you what you should do, that you want them to give you an ear so as you can talk to them, okay? Get a good team around you. Is that fair enough? Like the team that put this project together. Everyone, you can see it with the Jobs Expo here, there's different people doing different jobs, aren't there? But that's all leading towards one end result, isn't it? Some people look after the marketing, some people look after the camera, some people look after the booking, some people look after, say, with the career clinic out there, coordinating the people come out. So, but they're all doing their job, but everyone is playing a team role in order to make sure that the job is done properly, okay? Number 13, adversity and defeat. This is one really like, that a lot of people, this is like the stumbling block. You've attempted something, it hasn't really worked for you, and then you're never going to do anything again. All right? So you've let it beat you. There's been an old story told, actually, and I think I have the time anyway. What time is it? Anybody got the time? Okay, and we're on principle number 13. So I'll tell you this one very quickly, okay? And this apparently is a true story. It's about a gold miner who was mining for gold. And he actually run out of the vein. And he decided he'd sell all the equipment. So he sold the equipment actually to a scrap dealer. But what the scrap dealer did, he went and got expert advice. And he asked the expert to come and test this mine to see was there any more gold left in it. Some of you probably heard this story before, but anyway, it's an interesting one. He found a vein that was much bigger than the one that the gold miner had. This was a scrap dealer. So what he did, he bought the equipment for little or nothing, he put the equipment to work, and the rest is history, okay? So he went out to see, learning from defeat. That gold miner, you see, when he run out of that vein, what he should have done is got advice. What do I do next? So instead of giving up, try and get someone to help you. And go to someone who knows more than you do. And that way, you see, you're not going to be defeated. Is that fair enough? You're not defeated anyway until you give up. That's a fair comment. And it's all about your mental attitude there as well, by the way. Principle number 14, create a vision. It's trying to visualize where you want to go. Some of you are looking for jobs, some of you are looking for career, to break away from a career that you're currently at. I think the best way to do this really is brainstorm with somebody, someone that's close to you. Brainstorm all the things that are in your head. And everyone in this room has got something positive in their head, a lot of positive things. Try and get 20 things down on a piece of paper, okay? I learned that from a guy by the name of Zig Ziglar. Don't just write one thing down, but write down 20. And even the stupidest things, write them down, okay? And that way you see you're going to get your creative vision going. And then start focusing on the stuff that you're passionate about. So, one of the ways to increase your flow of ideas is get involved in study time, thinking time, and planning time. And that's the point where you actually lock yourself away in a room, nothing there, only a piece of paper and a pen. And if you've got a best friend, make sure that best friend is just asking questions. And that's all you have in there. No more distractions, turn the phones off, turn everything off, and just literally go into that room. And what you're focusing on is to get out your creative vision, okay? A lot of the inventors, that's how they do it, don't they? You'd read stories about these guys like Onassis, for example, the guy that's the biggest shipping tycoon in the world, actually, in his time. He had a notepad, and he used to carry it with him all the time. And he could be walking down the street, and this idea come to his head. He'd take out the notepad and write it down, put it back in his pocket. You might meet someone on the street and say hello to him, have a conversation, might get an idea from him. Jot it down in a notepad, put it back in his pocket. That's a true story, by the way. So he just kept writing ideas down. That's how it became what he ended up being, which is obviously one of the wealthiest men in the world. Okay. Principle number 15. I think this one speaks for itself, doesn't it? Look after your health. But it's not just the physical health, but your mental health as well. Okay? So it's the stuff you let into your head. When you get bad thoughts coming into your head, some negative thoughts coming into your head, push those out. Don't say, well, I don't want those coming in, because that's negative in its own right. Replace those with something positive. Okay? You hear people say, well, I'm going to give up cigarettes. Instead of saying I'm going to give up cigarettes, I'm going to take up jogging. So you're not saying what you're giving up, you're saying what you're going to do. Because that little oasis has to be filled, you see. So if you're going to give something up, something is going to replace it. So what you should be focusing on is something to replace the habit that you already have. So that's looking after your mental health, and I think the physical health speaks for itself, doesn't it? So number 16, budgeting your time and money. Everything costs money, doesn't it? So be careful. This is good time management. I'm not here to talk about time management. That's what it is anyway, okay? So it's just, if you say you're going to do something, there has to be a net worth in what you're doing. So don't just do something for nothing. There has to be an end result for it, okay? If it's, for example, that you're going to help somebody with their career, well, that's an end result in its own right, isn't it? So always try and think about doing something for a net value, okay? And that's budgeting your time and money. There's a lot more attached to that, but that's just giving it to you in a nutshell, okay? Number 17, you're probably wondering what cosmic habit force is about, yeah? Well, cosmic habit force, you see, is a habit. In a nutshell, what that means is that you've got a habit that you're already in at the moment. Replace that habit with something else. So let's say, for example, you've never driven a car in your life, and now you want to take up driving. Well, at the very beginning, your knuckles are going to be very white, aren't they? And your chin is probably going to be on the steering wheel. But over time, you're moving a bit more back from the steering wheel, and your knuckles are not as white as what they were, okay? So there's I think, now, I hope it'll come to me here, but there's a thing called unconscious incompetence. So that means you're incompetent, you don't even know it, but you're still attempting to drive the car. Now you got in to drive that car, so that leads on to conscious incompetence. You know you're incompetent, so that means you know you need help, okay? And then you go to that, from that then to conscious competence. So that means now you're competent and you're conscious of it, but the knuckles are still a little bit white. And that should drive you on then to the final part, which is actually unconscious competence, okay? That means you passed Portlaoise, you're in Kildare, and you didn't even know you got to Portlaoise, okay? So that's how it works. So when you're using cosmic habit force, you sow a seed You sow an act and you reap a habit. You sow a habit, you reap a character. You sow a character and you reap a destiny. Use and develop that self-starter, and the self-starter is do it now. So hopefully that's some help to you. It's a very short version of the 17 principles, but if you go on to the Hill Foundation, you'll get them all and in much more detail. Thanks for your attention. Okay?